Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Vaultborn Tyrant. For 5 colorless and 2 green, it's a creature dinosaur 6/6 with trample. Whenever Vaultborn Tyrant or another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life and draw a card. And whenever Vaultborn Tyrant dies, if it's not a token, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So this is really good for a bunch of reasons. But first, let's start off by saying that this is one of those cards that's going to be in the vault, which means that it's going to be a lot rarer than many other cards in the set, and that might affect its price a lot, unfortunately. And it's actually a trend that I'm a bit concerned about because I've been seeing a lot of cards from this vault subset that all seem to be very pushed, which means that there's going to be a high demand for them and probably not much of a supply. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but I'm not sure. In any case, looking at the card in question, this is obviously nuts. A 6/6 trample for 7 wouldn't be anything to write home about, but it immediately gains you 3 life and draws a card, which is really nice, and if it dies or your opponents kill it, you just get another copy of it that instantly draws you a card and gains you 3 life. So unless your opponents have exile removal for this, you're going to at least be gaining 6 life and drawing 2 cards, and probably much more than that. And the reason you're going to be getting much more than that is because it triggers on any creature with power 4 or greater entering the battlefield, and that is what green decks love to do most, summon big creatures. So once this starts triggering twice or 3 times, you're getting so much value, and the fact that you're getting life is actually not irrelevant either, because normally these kind of engines that require you to tap out to play something big leave you a little bit vulnerable to getting hit, or to the possibility that people just attack you, so that it doesn't really matter if you draw cards because your life is too low to be able to leverage that. Gaining 3 life on the ETB just changes all of that immediately. It gives you a nice little buffer that's going to help buy you time to use the card that you drew. And of course, the longer this stays alive, the harder it is to kill you, but then again, you can't just kill it. You absolutely have to exile it as well, so this is actually incredibly resilient, and that's even without getting into how you can break this. For starters, it's incredibly broken in Henzi. Most of the creatures in that deck are going to have power 4 or greater, and you get to blitz them out for cheap, which means you get to take advantage of this trigger so many different times. Not only that, but in Henzi you have a bunch of ways to sacrifice creatures and then kind of give them undying or give them some way to come back, which means you can just take advantage of this by having it die, getting it back, which means you're getting multiple copies in play at once. That's not too difficult to do in Henzi, but there's other decks that are entirely built around making copies of creatures or sacrificing creatures and reanimating them from the graveyard. That's where this can get really dumb, because of course killing it once feels pretty bad, but if then somebody follows it up with a board wipe, then that's fine. However, once you have multiples of these in play or you keep reanimating them, it's very difficult to keep up with that level of card advantage, and that's without even taking into account all the extra cards you're going to be drawing from all the other creatures that you're also definitely playing in green. So with all of that considered, what kind of decks is this going to be really good in? Well, honestly, I just think any green deck. It's another incredibly pushed generic green card, which is kind of why I'm very concerned about its price point, because I just don't see that many decks that aren't interested in running this as long as they have enough creatures with power 4 or greater, which isn't much of a requirement to start off with. I don't know, this kind of design just seems a little bit excessively pushed to me. Would it have been too weak without the die trigger? I don't think so. It would have still drawn you a ton of cards, gained you a bunch of life, and replaced itself as soon as it enters the battlefield. So I'm not really sure why it has that extra ability to just absolutely go nuts and make it so difficult to keep up with this card. It's just too much value. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.